Are you a busy professional looking to diversify your portfolio? Ever wanted to passively invest in real estate but don't know where to start? John Fortes provides you with a guide to passively invest in real estate. This is the Passive Investor Show.
And now, the Passive Investor Show. Here's your host, John Fortes.
Hello, PI listeners. Thank you for lending me your time today. Welcome to the Passive Investor Show. I'm John Fortes. Our goal is to provide you, the busy professional, with passive investing tips and tricks for your real estate investments. Let's get to work. This one is about how do you know you're ready to start investing? You never really know. You just have to start. You gotta figure out what your situation is. How is it going to align properly with your life? And is it something that you're in for the long term about? Those are, a few things you have to consider. Another thing is you're either going to do it or you won't. You can't be half in and half out. You got to understand that is the long game. You're thinking about retirement. You're thinking about how it's going to affect your life and how is it going to add and free up more time for your life. Will it improve your lifestyle? And, just a few things that you have to personally address before deciding to, invest or passively invest through real estate. I just wanted to sort out and actually hash out a few things that actually work for me. So I get comfortable by educating myself. So I learn about what I want to invest in. Is it something I'm comfortable throwing my capital in? So I'm constantly educating myself and seeing how I can improve or find the right vehicle for me. And that's through multifamily real estate. That's my personal favorite asset to invest in. And I remind myself that I learn by doing. So that's the only way sometimes I learn. I can read as much as possible, and sometimes it doesn't click until I'm actually doing it, and then it kind of the puzzle fits in that moment. So that's another way I learn by doing, and I just gotta remind myself that, like, John, you learn by doing, keep going. I do a lot of self-talk. Self-talk helps me kind of, just hash it out. Sometimes if you talk to someone about what you're trying to figure out, you might stumble upon the answer by talking through it. And sometimes I self-talk myself through things, and it really starts to make sense instead of constantly rattling it around in my brain. I also consider, does it line up with my family's goals my wife and I have for our family? Is it going to improve, benefit, or delay? So I consider all those alternatives as well. What are our upcoming goals? What are our 3-year, 5-year, and 10-year goals? And then I also consider, what happens if I don't? What happens if I don't do this? I'm going to be in the same spot, and I'll be always thinking about what if. And I personally don't like to live off the what if. Well, what if I decided to go that way instead of that way? I don't like to do it. So if I really feel comfortable about something, I'm gonna start taking action. And then another thing is I tell myself, what are the baby steps I can do to get started? So just kind of write it down. Write down what are the little things you can do today to get started. So whether it's vetting a sponsor or educating yourself a little bit more, or put in a little bit of the capital into your first opportunity to get your feet wet. Just kind of figuring it out. What the easy path is, not the easy path, but the smallest step you can take towards your goal or towards whatever you are considering and whatever's holding you back from it, right? So that's a few things. And I'm a quotes guy, so I keep a bunch of quotes up and I write down a bunch of quotes. And one of my favorite ones when I think about investing is fortune favors the bold. That one resonates a lot with me. There's a lot of great ones out there, but that one really helps me, kind of gives me that, that's what I need to hear. So, self-talking, quotes, family, lining up with my goals, educating myself, and reminding myself that I learn by doing. That's what really helps me know if I'm really ready to dive in. And once I figure that out, that's when I go for it. But everybody's different, and you have to figure out what your criteria is and what makes you tick. Is it something that you're considering or something that's really weighing on your heart? So if it's weighing on your heart, you got to figure it out. If you're just considering it, you'll probably see signs or see it pop up here and there, or until you really dig in. So how do you know you are ready? Quite frankly, you're the only one that can answer that. PI listeners, I appreciate you for listening. If any of this resonates with you, please subscribe and leave a review. The more you know, the more we grow. Thank you for tuning in. Till next time.